a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy.
Peter Thiel. Peter Andreas Thiel is an American entrepreneur, venture capitalist, philanthropist, political activist, and author. He was ranked number 4 on the Forbes Midas list of 2014, with a net worth of $2.2 billion, and number 315 on the Forbes 400 in 2017, with a net worth of $2.6 billion. Thiel was born in Frankfurt, and holds German citizenship. He moved with his family to the United States as an infant, and spent a portion of his upbringing in Africa before returning to the United States. He studied philosophy at Stanford University, graduating with a BA in 1989. He then went on to the Stanford Law School, and received his JD in 1992. After graduation, he worked as a judicial clerk for Judge James Larry Edmondson, a securities lawyer for Sullivan, and as a derivatives trader at Credit Suisse prior to founding Thiel Capital in 1996. He then co-founded PayPal in 1999, and served as chief executive officer until its sale to eBay in 2002 for $1.5 billion. After the sale of PayPal, he founded Clarium Capital, a global macro hedge fund. He launched Palantir Technologies, an analytical software company, in 2004 and continues to serve as its chairman as of 2017. His Founders Fund, a venture capital firm, was launched in 2005, along with PayPal partners Ken Howery and Luke Nozick. Earlier, Thiel became Facebook's first outside investor when he acquired a 10.2% stake for $500,000 in August 2004. He sold the majority of his shares in Facebook for over $1 billion in 2012, but remains on the board of directors. He also co-founded Valor Ventures in 2010 and operates as its chairman. Co-founded Mithril Capital, of which he is investment committee chair, in 2012, and served as a partner at Y Combinator from 2015 to 2017. Thiel is involved with a variety of philanthropic and political pursuits. Through the Thiel Foundation, he governs the grant-making bodies Breakout Labs and Thiel Fellowship, and supports life extension, seasteading and other speculative research. A co-founder of the Stanford Review, he is a conservative libertarian who is critical of excessive government spending, high debt levels, and foreign wars. He has donated to numerous political figures, and provided financial support to Hulk Hogan in Bollea v. Gork. Childhood. Peter Andreas Thiel was born in Frankfurt am Main, West Germany on October 11, 1967 to Susanne and Klaus Friedrich Thiel. The family migrated to the United States when Peter was aged 1, and lived in Cleveland, where Klaus worked as a chemical engineer. Klaus then worked for various mining companies, which caused an itinerant upbringing for Thiel and his younger brother, Patrick Michael Thiel. Thiel's mother naturalized as a U.S. citizen, but his father did not. Before settling in Foster City, California in 1977, the Thiels had lived in South Africa and Southwest Africa, and Peter had to change elementary schools 7 times. One of Peter's elementary schools, a strict establishment in Swakopmund, required students to wear uniforms, and utilized corporal punishment, such as striking students' hands with a ruler for mistakes. This experience instilled a distaste for uniformity, and regimentation later reflected in Thiel's support for individualism and libertarianism as an adult. In his youth, Thiel played Dungeons, was an avid reader of science fiction, with Isaac Asimov and Robert A. Heinlein among his favorite authors, and a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien's works, stating as an adult that he had read The Lord of the Rings over 10 times during his childhood. He has since founded 6 firms whose names originate from Tolkien. Education. In school, Thiel excelled in mathematics, and scored first in a California-wide mathematics competition while attending middle school in San Mateo. At the San Mateo High School, he read Ayn Rand, admired the optimism and anti-communism of then-President Ronald Reagan, and was valedictorian of his graduating class in 1985. After graduating from San Mateo High School, Thiel went on to study philosophy at Stanford University. During Thiel's time at Stanford, debates on identity politics and political correctness were ongoing at the university in a Western culture program, which was criticized by the Rainbow Agenda, because of a perceived overrepresentation of the achievements made by European men, was replaced with a culture, ideas and values course, which instead pushed diversity and multiculturalism. This replacement provoked controversy on the campus, and led to Thiel founding the Stanford Review, a paper for conservative and libertarian viewpoints. In 1987, through the funding of Irving Kristol, Thiel served as the Stanford Review's first editor-in-chief, and remained in that post until he received his Bachelor of Arts in 1989, at which point his friend David O. Sachs became the new editor-in-chief. Thiel then continued on to the Stanford Law School and acquired his Doctor of Jurisprudence in 1992. While at Stanford, Thiel encountered René Girard, whose mimetic theory influenced him. Mimetic theory posits that human behavior is based upon mimesis, and that imitation can engender pointless conflict. Girard notes the productive potential of competition. It is because of this unprecedented capacity to promote competition within limits that always remain socially, if not individually, acceptable, that we have all the amazing achievements of the modern world, but states that competition stifles progress once it becomes an end in itself. Rivals are more apt to forget about whatever objects are the cause of the rivalry, and instead become more fascinated with one another. Thiel applied this theory to his personal life and business ventures, stating, "The big problem with competition is that it focuses us on the people around us, and while we get better at the things we're competing on, we lose sight of anything that's important, or transcendent, or truly meaningful in our world." Early career. After graduating Stanford Law School, Thiel clerked for Judge James Larry Edmondson of the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit. Thiel unsuccessfully applied for clerkships with Justices Antonin Scalia and Anthony Kennedy of the Supreme Court of the United States. After his clerkship with Judge Edmondson, Thiel worked as a securities lawyer for Sullivan. After 7 months and 3 days, he left the law firm citing a lack of transcendental value in his work. He then took a job as a derivatives trader in currency options at Credit Suisse, working there from 1993 on while also operating as a speechwriter for former United States Secretary of Education William Bennett, before again feeling as though his work lacked meaningful value and returning to California in 1996. Upon returning to the Bay Area, Thiel noticed that the development of the Internet and personal computer had already altered the economic landscape, and the dot-com boom was well underway. With financial support from friends and family, he was able to raise $1 million toward the establishment of Thiel Capital Management, and embark on his venture capital career. Early on, he experienced a setback after investing $100,000 in his friend Luke Nosek's unsuccessful web-based calendar project. However, his luck changed when Max Levchin, a friend of Nosek's, introduced him to his cryptography-related company idea, which later became their first venture called Confinity in 1998. PayPal. With Confinity, Thiel realized they could develop a software to solve a gap in making online payments. Although the use of credit cards and expanding automated teller machine networks provided consumers with more available payment options, not all merchants could gain the necessary hardware to accept credit cards. Thus, consumers were often left with little choice and instead had to pay with exact cash or personal checks. Thiel wanted to create a type of digital wallet in the hopes of ensuring more consumer convenience and security by encrypting data on digital devices, and in 1999 Confinity launched PayPal. PayPal promised to open up new possibilities for handling money, and according to Eric M. Jackson's account in his book The PayPal Wars, Thiel viewed PayPal's mission as liberating people throughout the world from the erosion of the value of their currencies due to inflation. Jackson recalls an inspirational speech by Thiel in 1999, when PayPal launched. At a successful press conference in 1999, representatives from Nokia and Deutsche Bank sent $3 million in venture funding to Thiel using PayPal on their Palm pilots. PayPal then continued to grow through mergers with Elon Musk's financial services company, X.com, and with Pixo, a company specializing in mobile commerce, in 2000. These mergers allowed PayPal to expand into the wireless phone market, and transformed it into a safer and more user-friendly tool by enabling users to transfer money via a free online registration and email rather than by exchanging bank account information. By 2001, PayPal served over 6.5 million customers and had expanded its services to private consumers and businesses in 26 countries. PayPal went public on February 15, 2002 and was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion in October of that year. Thiel's 3.7% stake was worth $55 million at the time of the acquisition. In Silicon Valley circles, Thiel is colloquially referred to as the Don of the PayPal Mafia. Clarium Capital. Following PayPal's sale to eBay in 2002, Thiel devoted $10 million of his proceeds to establish Clarium Capital Management, a global macro hedge fund focusing on directional and liquid instruments in currencies, interest rates, commodities, and equities. Thiel stated that the big macroeconomic idea that we had at Clarium, the IDEAQT was the peak oil theory, which was basically that the world was running out of oil, and that there were no easy alternatives. In 2003, Clarium Capital reflected a return of 65.6% as Thiel successfully bet that the United States dollar would weaken. In 2004, Thiel spoke of the dot-com bubble having migrated, in effect, into a growing bubble in the financial sector, and specified General Electric and Walmart as vulnerable. In 2005, Clarium saw a 57.1% return as Thiel predicted that the dollar would rally. This success saw Clarium honored as Global Macro Hedge Fund of the Year by MarHedge, an absolute return alpha. However, Clarium's faltered in 2006 with a 7.8% loss. During this time, the firm sought to profit in the long term from its petrodollar analysis, which foresaw the impending decline in oil supplies, and the unsustainable bubble growing in the U.S. housing market. Clarium's assets under management indeed, after achieving a 40.3% return in 2007, grew to over $7 billion by 2008, but plummeted as financial markets collapsed near the start of 2009. By 2011, after missing out on the economic rebound, many key investors pulled out, causing Clarium's assets to be valued at $350 million, over half of which was Thiel's own money.
Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?